Disney has found its Wonder Woman. And I say that with all due respect, by the way, to Captain Marvel. But Captain Marvel, and I liked this about Captain Marvel, was very much presented as an ordinary person, just like you. But Mulan has the exemplary, idealized hero quality that Wonder Woman does. I love to see it. This is a very good movie. So yes, while I was watching Niki Caro, by the way, we really got upset with her about all the changes she was making. But I gotta say, as we're gonna discuss right in this review, she delivers. We'll talk about the changes to the animated movie. But don't worry, this is a non-spoiler review. Spoiler review will come out on Friday. Tomorrow. I don't know why the embargo for this lifted so late. My only guess, because it's such a good movie, my only guess is they might be worried about backlash for what Liu Yifei said about Hong Kong, which I can understand people are upset, but I think many people have also pointed out the complicated situation over there. I don't want to go into it too much here, but you've seen the broader discussion on that. And then also, people might be upset that it's going to Disney Plus exclusively at such a high price point. And also, maybe they want all these great reviews to come out and immediately push people onto the streaming service to push that purchase button. By the way, if you want to purchase Disney's Mulan on Disney Plus, because they don't want to share the fee with any app stores, you can only purchase it on the website, like through a computer, like a desktop or something. You can't buy it through the Disney Plus app. You have to buy it through disneyplus.com, and then you can watch it on the app after you've made the purchase. And you can watch it as many times as you want, and we'll discuss whether or not I think Mulan is worth the price. This is my one spoiler. It is! So anyway, while I was watching Niki Caro's Mulan, I was reminded a lot of Patty Jenkins' now classic film. Both women have directed legit epic action movies, grounded yet also with distinct elements of fantasy, that layer in an incredible understanding of women, that create heroines that feel very real and relatable to the women watching the movies, but aren't at this. But I don't think that they do anything to put off. I hope they don't to put off any men who are watching the film. It's a loving representation of women. It's not anything that has an agenda. And at the same time, I think something else that helps is that these female heroes feel familiar, as that they have the same code of honor that we're used to seeing in male heroes. It was particularly distinct here. Like, it was weird. It was cool. I was not used to seeing it, but I loved it to see Mulan act and talk like a selfless kung fu hero, or a kung fu hero's Western counterpart, a medieval knight. She really was a lot like a knight. And the Game of Thrones comparison, by the way, doesn't stop there, as Jason Scott Lee's elite guard has learned some very cool horse riding tricks from the Dothraki. I was like, I've seen that before, and it was just as cool then as it is now. If Kate Shortland, Chloe Zhao, and Nia DaCosta can do as good a job with their female-led action movies as Jenkins and Caro have done, we might truly live to see the acceptance of women as action directors. Not as tokenism, like, oh, it's a female lead, it should have a female director, but as people who can do the job incredibly well. Incredibly well. But Niki Caro doesn't deserve all the credit. Screenwriters Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, who have never let me down. If you see their name on a movie, you should feel good about it. They're very talented writers. And they did the final polish on this script. And I can tell you how many times I said, damn, that's a good line, because we're going to go over them in the spoiler review. There were some real beauties here. Usually you don't always notice the script in a movie particularly like this. But I was like, especially because there are so many changes, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But I was like, that's a great line. That's an amazing line. You could put that line on a poster. You could put that line on a pillow. And I'm sure Disney will. They are, of course, the merchandise king. So, understandably, many of us were upset when we heard there would be no songs in the movie. I mean, the original animated film has one of the best Disney soundtracks. No Mushu, no Cricky, no Li Shang, etc., etc., etc. And every time we heard something wasn't in the movie, we got more and more upset. But watching the movie, I didn't miss them at all, not for 1 second, because Disney's live-action Mulan is actually a totally different movie than the animated one. It's this movie. Do you remember this first poster, this teaser poster for Mulan back in 1998? While I loved the animated movie, I always felt cheated and disappointed that we never got this movie. I had this poster on a t-shirt. I loved it so much, but it never materialized until now. Live action Mulan is this movie. It's fantastic. You've got drums. You've got riding into battle. You have actual battle tactics. I've studied battle tactics, and they actually have, not in depth, but it was really cool to see them actually utilizing them. Far more forces in the actual film that have been teased leading up to its release. There's magic. Gong Li, by the way, is super cool. We'll be talking about her more in just a moment. And wire fu. One of you asked me, and you said, Grace, is there wire fu in this movie? And I said, there's wire fu everywhere, baby. And that's the truth. Also, seeing Mulan training here, the feels. I loved seeing everybody training together, just like we did in the original animated movie. But you not only get a greater appreciation for what it's like to serve in the military, but also for women, what it's like for them to serve in the military, especially because, less so today, but, they don't have the same numbers as men. So that was a really interesting perspective that I saw more of in this movie. I will say, though, that while she does a great job, Liu Yifei ain't fooling anyone. I was like, that's clearly a woman. I mean, maybe they were like, there's no way it could be a woman. I guess that's why nobody ever really discussed it, because they're like, no woman would dare do this. But I was like, it's a woman. I don't know how you guys don't just take one look at her. I mean, they did not do it. The animated movie changed a little bit of the design. Ming-Na Wen changed her voice more so. I mean, Liu Yifei does try to change her voice, but again, I'm like, it's like Clark Kent with the glasses, with Superman. You're like, how does everyone not see it? It was like the same thing here. You're like, it's clearly a woman. Now, speaking of women, this might be one of the most feminist films I've ever seen. But again, in a good way. It does not, I don't feel it all alienates men. It doesn't vilify men in the movie. It's more about how women are seen by society. And that society has created that problem. And by the way, I believe Mulan will appeal to many people, not just women, especially those who feel like outsiders, who aren't valued because they don't fit the mold, what's expected of them. One of the core messages of this movie, it has a lot of messages, and this one I thought was beautiful. I liked all the messages. We'll talk about them in the spoiler review, but this message was great. Don't worry, it's no spoilers. But it's, if you don't live your truth, if you pretend to be something you're not just to please others, you can't be your best self. You're robbing yourself and everyone around you of what you can bring to the table. And I think that will resonate with a lot of people. Women, the LGBT community, just anyone who's a maverick, doesn't like to follow the rules, but still wants to be part of the group. I think that group will really like this movie, especially the way it's delivered. Again, as I said, so powerful. But what this movie has to say about women is also very powerful, especially in the yin-yang dynamic between Mulan and Gong Li's witch, who's a fabulous, dynamic character. There is a very specific reason script-wise that she's in the movie, which I think works really well. And Mulan, by the way, is not a Mary Sue. She fails. She asks for help. And I feel those elements are also very important to making this movie work. Now, I also thought while I was watching this movie, how does the Chinese government feel about feminism? Because it seems like it doesn't really go with the Chinese government. Because I have to say, Mulan is definitely Disney's love letter to China. So I think for most of it, besides the Maverick going independent and doing stuff, I'm like, I don't really know if that fits what I've heard about the Chinese government. But in terms of depicting the culture and I think loyalty to your country, I mean, that's all I think some stuff that the Chinese government will like. And I have to say, while the Chinese government, not, taking them out of the equation, it's wonderful to see the people of China and their culture represented so beautifully and powerfully. I mean, right from the get-go, you see the Chinese, they do the castle logo intro and they change it up for every movie. Well, you see the Chinese countryside. And then if you're wondering what castle that is, it's the Shanghai Disneyland castle, which was just recently built. And that was really great to see. Now, the movie, speaking of colorful, is actually very colorful. The production design is as strong as any of the recent Disney live-action adaptations. And it is long, so much story, and they set up quite the potential sequel. As for the cast, at first I thought Liu Yifei might be too stiff, but she's actually quite good and makes an excellent Mulan. Look for the Ming-Na Wen cameo. You might be like, damn it, Grace, why'd you tell me about the cameo? Because it's a blink and you'll miss it cameo, so I want you to be on your toes. She looked really great. Ma as Mulan's father also does a wonderful job in a much bigger role. And I love the emphasis on how not just sons but also daughters can take after their fathers. I thought that was great. As I said, Gong Li, fabulous, so good that I would like to actually see her character incorporated into the Disney parks, etc. going forward. This is a character to keep. Plus, if you're looking for Li Shang eye candy, don't worry. Yosun An, I think, fits the bill nicely. They kept the skinny dipping scene. It's not comedic anymore, but it still works. As for the big names best known to U.S. audiences, this is the only area where I feel the movie falters a little bit. Donnie Yen, I love Donnie Yen. I'm a huge Donnie Yen fan, and he's always excellent, as he is here. But his role is smaller than you would want. I don't think they needed two guys, by the way, running Mulan's unit. I mean, give all the lines to Donnie. Who's this other guy? We don't need him. Jason Scott Lee is fierce as villain Bori Khan, but his role is also small. Then get this, and I checked because I wasn't sure, but as for Jet Li, well, the Emperor does have some very cool stuff to do in the third act. I love that. Expanded role, baby. I can't believe they dubbed over Jet Li's voice. I thought that was incredibly disrespectful, especially considering the horrible history of Hollywood dubbing over Asian actors. I was like, did you really do that? And they did. But overall, this Mulan is a bold, exciting, and powerful film. Really powerful, with an ending that is so perfect that I can't wait to discuss it with you in the spoiler review. As for the price, again, I know it's a big ask. It's a big ask. This was supposed to be in theaters. But again, you can watch it as many times as you want after you unlock it, and I do believe that you'll watch Mulan at least twice in the next week or so. It's that much fun. If you liked Jungle Book, Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast, and Wonder Woman, I think you'll really love Mulan. So that's my spoiler-free review of Mulan, which is again available starting this Friday exclusively on Disney+. And stay tuned for plenty more coverage. Lots of Mulan coverage all weekend long. So not only share your thoughts down below, but subscribe so you don't miss any of that. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.